asshole.
This is Bass Talk Live. Your host, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pangrack. BTL is brought to you by Lowrance, Lose, Strike King Lures, Bass Cat Boats, Ducket Fishing, Spro, AFCO, Big Bite Baits, Sunline, and TH Marine. BTL coming at you. Good Wednesday, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about with my good friend Bradley Hallman, sitting in for Matthew, who is going to battle today, this afternoon, this morning, for the rematch against Jeff Crete. Bradley.
Lake Murray post spawn.
Yeah.
You ever done that before?
No.
I think last time I experienced that was with the sluggo, a pink sluggo bite. You remember the sluggo?
Oh, yeah. We talk about the sluggo all the time, man.
That was not a bad post spawn.
Yeah. So Matthew, he is going to battle with, it's kind of a weird rematch per the request of Jeff Crete. It's him and Jeff Crete and Jeff Reynolds, who a lot of people across the country don't realize how good that dude is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's a stick.
Hammerhead.
All right. And then like three other guys, and that's the way Crete wanted to do it. But Matt is going to film the whole thing, and we'll see if they can catch more than a combined 7 pounds as they did last time.
Man, they had them pre-spawn last time. They've got them post this time. It's going to be a little bit tougher.
Well, I don't know. Crete said that they were biting better. That's what he told Matt.
That's good.
So we'll see. Anyway, good show today. So happy to have Bradley in studio. We're going to have Edwin Evers on live from a lake in eastern Oklahoma, and we're going to get his take on the remainder of the season and talk about his Project E that he has launched on YouTube, Bradley, and the production level of this thing. If you haven't checked it out, you need to. We're going to talk to him about that. It is like a National Geographic production. It's insane, the production quality of this thing.
Yeah, he's stepped it up definitely. I've even got some pointers from some of his stuff I was looking at the other day, and I was like, ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So great stuff from Edwin, and we'll talk to him about that. And then I want to let you know tomorrow, right now, we are scheduled to have Davey Height on tomorrow, and I believe that Matt will be back in studio tomorrow. So Davey Height tomorrow, and it'll be interesting to get his take on so much that has happened over the break and the remainder of the Elite Series season, and see any surprises. You know, it's really, really hard, Bradley, to talk about the Elite Series right now because you've only had 4 days of fishing plus the Classic. Or 2 days of fishing plus the Classic. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's insane. All right, so we'll talk to Davey about that, and then great stuff lined up. I also want to mention the amount of entries that we are getting for the Apex Series. Very, very, very cool. The Apex Bass Games continue to get a number of entries. If you haven't entered for the little contest that I put together, please do so at basszone.com. And then I'm still looking for some volunteers, too. If you got anything to sell out there that is valued at $1,000 or more, if you're selling your boat, send me an email. I'm going to give you a call. Make sure you include your contact number in there. I'm going to give you a call and see if you want to be part of the debut of the Market Live. If you've seen the banner on the Bass Zone, we talked about that yesterday. So enough of that. Man, there is some crazy, crazy stuff going on in Michigan.
Yeah. I woke up this morning and didn't know anything about it, and I haven't been watching the news or any of the news, not national or local.
Yeah.
And I was just woke up, you do, and just clicking through emails and social media this morning, and I came across a really good friend of mine that we went to school here at the University of Oklahoma, Nate Slate, and he is now living back in Michigan where he's from, his home, and there was pictures on his Instagram of his parents' house flooded. And I was like, what in the world? And so I pulled it up, and I gave him a call this morning. The Tittabawassee River
Hopefully you're saying that right.
Tittabawassee River in Michigan. It's actually 4 chains of lakes that come down through there, and they're hydro dams. They have, I guess, an earthen dam that ties into a concrete part that they actually run electricity through it. And 3 of the 4 lakes, the dams failed yesterday.
Yeah, it's insane, the flooding that's taking place.
Catastrophe flooding. And it's still coming. The waters are still coming. There's a town downriver named Midland, Michigan.
It's flooded.
That's flooded and coming. It's going to continue to rise. They're saying possibly 9 to 10 feet before it crests.
Feels so bad for those people. And do they know why the dams broke yet? I didn't look into it or anything.
Nate said that there was some speculation that they had been surveyed as of recently, and engineers had said these dams have the potential to fail. There was some legal jargon going on with them at the time, so there's definitely some smoke here.
Not good. So if you haven't seen some of the video or some of the photos from this area,
terrible,
unbelievable, just some incredible video footage of the amount of water that is in Midland and headed toward other towns too. But this is a bad situation in Michigan. I don't know. We have a fan, Frank from Michigan, that's on the show all the time. I'm not exactly sure where Frank resides from, but maybe Frank could kind of fill us in on the area that's being affected. I looked at it on the map. It's kind of western or eastern Michigan, not western, eastern Michigan. And man, just our thoughts are with those people. Just a disaster taking place in Michigan. All right, speaking of Michigan, I do want to mention this. Yesterday on the show, we ran off the names of guys that are not fishing the I'm calling them the superstar events. All right, on the FLW side.
The superstar events? Is that what you've nicknamed them?
The superstar events. You remember that old series that they had on ABC? You're probably too young. called The Superstars?
No.
It was pretty neat. It's where they took athletes and then they put them in this weird competition. Not weird, but just different than what they were a superstar in.
Okay.
All right, and I remember O.J. Simpson being in it. And I think he actually won one of the superstar competitions. Anyway, speaking of Michigan, one of the names on that list of the MLF guys that are not going to fish those events was Kevin Van Dam. And I spoke with Kevin for an extended period of time yesterday. And part of the reason why Kevin isn't fishing, and we mentioned this yesterday, I'm sure every single one of those guys on that list has a good reason as to why they're not fishing. Well, in Kevin's case, it was a scheduling conflict with the way that the dates were kind of laid out, because he was not going to be able to fish a couple of them because of conflicts, one being a wedding. Mm-hmm. All right, and I can't remember who's getting married, but it was a wedding that he's involved with. Obviously, it's a family member or something like that. So it wasn't feasible from a date standpoint for Kevin to fish that. The other thing is he did make the point, and he made the same point that Matt made about there are a lot of guys out there on the BPT that they have to fish a certain number of events to fulfill their contract obligations in order to get paid.
That's right. They have contract agreements.
So he was like, you know what, man? The dates didn't work out. I'm not going to pay, $10,000+.
I know that one surprised. I know that one surprised you, because you and I talked about it weeks ago about who all would participate and who wouldn't.
Yeah.
And Kevin's name came up, and you were like, "Oh yeah, he's definitely going to fish them."
Yeah.
And I didn't think so.
Yeah, so it was a date conflict with Kevin, and plus the fact that he was like, I got other things that I can do, but just a combination of things. That's why Kevin's not fishing. So
I'm sure everybody has different reasons.
100%. And I'm not going to contact every single one of these guys. It's just it worked out that I had to talk to Kevin about some other things, and then we gradually worked into talking about, hey, man, how come you're not fishing? And he kind of broke it down a little bit. But
what about our guest today?
He's fishing.
He's fishing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's fishing. We got Edwin Evers on here in about 5-10 minutes, and then he's going to be live via Skype from, as I mentioned, a body of water in eastern Oklahoma. All right, not really sure where it is, but it's kind of part of that series that he's been doing. Did you recognize the lake and I don't know how many of these that you've seen of what he's done. The one that looked like bell cow. It wasn't bell cow. It was tomato soup. That's how clear the water was.
I haven't seen that one.
Pretty incredible day that he had on the water. Obviously, I think it was pre-spawn. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was chocolate milk. It was tomato soup. Really? It was pretty dirty. But he did tell me, he wouldn't tell me where it was, but he did tell me that it was not bell cow. Because that's who I thought, that's what lake that I thought that he was fishing on.
I actually have a video dropping today of bell cow.
Yep. That's where you caught that 8-pounder.
It is.
It's got some BFE.
Special fish in it.
Yeah.
For a mud hole that always seems to stay red.
Tomato soup, man. That's the nickname. Oh, I'm going to tomato soup, man. I'm going to Campbell's.
Yeah.
In the 90s, when that lake first opened in the early 90s, it was being bombarded, kind of like that whole kind of period that Mountain Lake went through. You remember Mountain Lake in the Arbuckle Mountains?
Yep.
Where the state record actually came out.
Yeah, everybody would go up there with their goldfish and their canoes.
Yeah, kind of crazy. So we'll see, man. We'll see what Edwin has on tap, and kind of pick his brain on the remainder of the season, heavy hitters, and get his thoughts on a number of other things. What else, Bradley? What's going on with BFE? Can you talk about anything? Is it close to getting out there? I mean, any kind of update on it?
I think the target date is mid-June. I believe is for the release. And I know Panger came up yesterday after you guys did the studio show, and we spent quite a bit of time. They had wanted a 90-second exactly promo video for that video. So Panger and I worked diligently on that yesterday and actually knocked that out. It was one of the best products of video that I think I've been a part of. We really did a good job on that. I was really proud of it. When that one went out in the email and was like, hey, I hope this is what you want, I was thinking, we knocked that one out of the park.
All right, there's people out there on the instant feedback that are saying that YouTube's not working again. Look, folks, I'm going to say it again. Ooh. I thought I had all the dials turned right. I got with the streaming provider that we have. It is uncontrollable on my side. I will follow up with it once again today, but it is out of our control. And let's just say I'll chew some butt on this one because they assured me that this situation would not occur again. So I apologize to all the YouTube people out there. I will do the same thing again. As soon as the show is over, I will get the replay out on YouTube as quickly as possible. So sorry about that.
It's the way that I watch it. Yesterday morning,
dude,
I had it on.
It is so frustrating because you have people tell you one thing that, we got it fixed. We know what the issue is. It won't be an issue again. Yeah. And then look, here it is today. It worked fine yesterday. It's been working good since that initial issue that we had. So I really apologize to all those people out on YouTube that have to wait for the replay out there. So once again, I will make contact with our provider and hopefully get this situation corrected again. Bradley, I got to ask you this, man, and then we're going to take a break and come back with Edwin. Are you not to the point where you are ready to get after it and do a little tournament fishing? Are you getting to that point yet where it's like, dude, let's go?
I'm not just itching. I'm not. I haven't been bored. I've been so busy.
Well, you have been.
And I've enjoyed the difference of, doing different types of fishing. I mean, we did a deal this weekend. Hey, we went back to Lake X. That's right.
How'd that worked out?
Dude.
Were they hammered?
So, we did the Red River shootout with Castledine and Bonds.
Yeah.
So they agreed to do another one, but they came to Oklahoma this time. They came up, spent Friday night. We drove out to Lake X Saturday morning, threw down on Lake X.
Yeah.
Andrew Upshaw and myself against the two Texans. And those videos will drop. I'm not going to give anything up. Dude, we crushed on them.
Really?
Once again.
Same way?
Same way.
Really?
Yes. Yep.
I was talking to
no, but there's some topwater bites.
Ooh.
Andrew and I's largest fish was definitely
really
plopper.
There's a gentleman from Western Oklahoma that I was talking with about some of the stuff that takes place on those lakes in the West.
Yep.
And he told me, he goes, those fish never leave. They never leave.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
He said they don't go out. There's nothing for them to get on the main lake.
Yep.
So they never leave, man. Yep. They're always there at Lake X.
Yeah, we talked about that when we were there. I was like, I don't think these fish would leave.
Yeah, they don't, man. They don't. And he's fished it, him and his dad, fished it for 30, 40 years.
Yeah. It's an incredible place. Castledine was, those guys are from Rayburn, right? Him and Bonds.
Yeah.
And that's an extremely special place to fish right now. And they were extremely impressed. I think they said they caught close to 40 fish probably.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Special place.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back with Edwin Evers live from a lake somewhere in Oklahoma. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The ultimate fishing system starts with Lowrance HDS Live. Upgrade to HDS Live with a Ghost trolling motor, live sight transducer, or Structure Scan 3D, and get up to $500 cash back.
Yeah, you care about gear ratios, inches per turn, and ball bearings, but most importantly, you want reliability and dependability in the equipment you use. Luz doesn't cut corners when it comes to the gear they build. The new Speed Spool LFS is the best $99 reel in the market. Go see for yourself.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
Kevin, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just filling in for Billy.
I need a 660 shad crankbaits in the Series 5 model.
We're out.
You're not out. You got all kinds of them right there.
We're out.
Kevin, I need 6.
Have a lollipop.
I do not want a lollipop.
Have a lollipop.
Do you have it in sexy shad color?
At Duckett Fishing, we have assembled the top pros in the country to help us design rods to give you a competitive advantage. Castability, strength, durability, action, sensitivity, weight and balance, and consistency. Combine that with the best warranty in the industry, and you have rods that are pro-driven.
Duckett Fishing, pro-driven.
All right, we are back on a Wednesday with Bradley Hallman in studio, and we are ready to go to our special guest. And I don't know if you know this or not, Bradley, but when I started this thing back in 1998 and as it progressed, the first interview that Edwin ever did as a true professional was with me.
Really?
Yeah. And that was a very, very special, because I was nervous as could be, and I don't know.
Where did this interview take place?
I don't even really remember. I don't remember. It was obviously at a tournament.
Yep.
But and I don't remember which one it was, but he was very, very nice to me.
Yep.
Very nice. And for somebody that really didn't know what the heck they were doing at the time, he was getting started, I was getting started, but it was very, very cool. So every time that Edwin's on the show, I greatly appreciate him taking time out, because he's an absolute superstar now, man.
He is.
He really is. And for him to take time out to be on this show is very special. So let me get him queued up here to where everybody can see. Let's see here. That's not it. That's not it. I know it's one of these. There he is. All right, let's bring him in now. Edwin, you there, man?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Man, I remember that interview like it was yesterday.
Where was it? I don't remember.
I'll tell you, it was Soldier Field in Chicago. And it was like 60 degrees. You had short shorts on, buddy. I mean, like short shorts on.
Tommy Biffle shorts.
And you did. You had Tommy Biffle shorts on and like a Hawaiian shirt of some sort. And I was like, and you talk about me making it. You've made it a long way since then, Mark. You're like knocking it out of the park with this Bass Talk Live. This stuff's amazing. I'm addicted to it. I watch this stuff every day. It's my exercise, my treadmill. Just the problem is your episodes are longer than I can run. I usually it takes me two runs to get the whole episode in, but I sure enjoy listening to you guys.
Wow, thanks, man. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't remember it was Soldier Field, because it was me and 40 other people there. No, that's an
exactly. Exactly. It was the 2000 Classic in Chicago.
Yeah, there was not very many people. In fact, Bradley, there's a picture floating around the studio somewhere where I was on the top row of Soldier Field, and I had some dude that was there take a picture from behind me that showed me on the top row spanning the old pre-remodeled Soldier Field, and seriously, there might have been maybe 100 people there.
Really?
Yeah, it was really, really bizarre, very bizarre.
It's a big stadium, and even if there was 1,000 people there, it looked like 10 people because it's such a big stadium, and it was quite out of the normal bass fishing realm of the South and the Midwest and the East. It just up there, they thought we were walleye fishing or something.
Yeah. All right, man, let's dive in. You guys are finally going to get back to action here at the K-Chain in Florida. I know you've been very, very busy, and we're going to talk about your YouTube project here in a minute. But, man, finally getting back into the action of competing. What are your thoughts, Edwin?
I'm so excited. It's just that's what we do. That's what me and Bradley, we live to compete, out there on the water and all of us. So it's just exciting to get back to work. I've had a lot of fun being at home and have got to do a lot of fun things with the family. But in the same sense, as a dad, as a husband, as a provider, I don't feel like I'm providing for my family unless I'm out there on the water, have an opportunity to make some money. So, I don't feel like I'm doing my job. So I need to get out there and need to get back to compete, and I'm ready for it.
Now, you were on the list to compete in the FLW events. What are your thoughts on that?
At first I was really hesitant, and I just didn't feel right about it because, I don't know that I'd feel right if a bunch of people come into our events, and after talking to a bunch of those guys and what Major League Fishing proposed to bring over there to add benefit to those guys as well to allow us to fish, they were all okay with it. I think there's 10 or 12, 15 guys that weren't, but the vast majority of them, talking to them, they all welcomed us with open arms, and that was the biggest thing because, we're all fishermen, we're all family at the end of the day, and I didn't want to go over there and step on anybody's toes, but now that we've got their blessing and from what I've heard and what I've been conveyed that 99% of them are okay with us coming over, I'm super excited to go just because heck, it's 3 more events that I wasn't going to get to fish, and it's they're going to be really big events. Heck, I get to figure out if I remember how to put a fish in a live well. Hadn't done that in a long time, so looking forward to that. I've had a few interviews like, what about changing back and forth between the formats? And I said, I think I remember how to put one in a live well. We'll see, but I know my live well still works. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. St. Clair and Chickamauga and Mississippi River, they're all going to be great venues. And, with that said, too, I got some great friends over there. I can't wait to see them again.
Very nice, very nice. And, Matt and I discussed the fact that this field for those events might be the greatest assembled professional angler field in the history of bass fishing.
It is. It's there's some stout competition in them. Those guys over there, they're the real deal too. And they're all, it is. As far as you're going to accomplish something getting one of those first place checks all the way down through 100 place that they're paying. So it's going to be a feat. You just can't take it for granted that you're going to get a check over there.
It's funny. Somebody on the instant feedback, actually a couple of people, they're like, hopefully these guys won't forget their cull tags.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find me a set of them. I'm going to need to call up TH or something and get some of them because I don't know where mine are. I think I gave them away to a buddy of mine. But I'm looking forward to getting back into it.
All right. Obviously, being from Oklahoma, I'm really curious. What are your thoughts about fall fishing and so many of these events being pushed back? What are your thoughts on that, Edwin?
I love it. When I started my career back when we were talking about Soldier Field, we had lots of fall events, Mark, and it's a tougher time of the year. That August, September, October time frame. Then things start to get better. But I love that time of year. It's certain techniques that really play and we hadn't got to do that in a long time. So I'm super excited about it. I love the deer hunt, but it's not like bass fishing for me. Deer hunting, I don't live in the woods like a Jason Christie or a Tommy Biffle, from opening day to the closing day. Those guys are in the woods every day. I like to go 4 or 5 times, 10 times a year. And I like to bass fish, the rest of the time.
Imagine that. All right, I want to let everybody know quite a few questions on the instant feedback. What we're going to do, we're going to talk to Edwin just a little bit more, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and get to the questions that are on the instant feedback. All right, Edwin, one of the things that you have recently launched, I've talked about it numerous times on the show, the Project E video series that you have on YouTube. One, I wanted to know, is it an obvious answer on why you started doing this? And two, dude, I have said this, the production quality, what you have done from a content standpoint in this series is just like nothing else on the web. It is off the charts. So how do you respond to that? You just make me feel so good, Mark, because it's just hard. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of commitment. And this was, for you to say that, Mark, you give me goosebumps because I'm just scared to death of what I'm doing is not good enough or not, people don't like it or whatever it is, because I'm pouring my heart and soul into it. And this was something that me and my wife had decided to do way before the virus ever was about. It wasn't something that came from the virus. We started this, 2-3 months before the virus or made the commitment to do it. And I'm thankful now that I did because, it's really given me an avenue to promote my sponsors, with this downtime. But I've always enjoyed the Bass Pro television show that I was a part of and the Outdoor World television show that I was a part of, the Classic Patterns deal that we used to do back with those guys. So this was a way that I could teach other anglers how to catch fish, maybe give them some of the knowledge that I've been able to learn, or how not to do it for dang sure over the last 20 years. That's one thing about bass fishing. You got to know how not to do it. And I've learned a lot of wrong ways to do it over the 20 years. So, hopefully I can pass that on to some of our fans and viewers and hopefully, teach somebody to catch a bass. And that's the goal with it. That's why we call it Project E is, it's never learning. I don't ever stop learning bass fishing. I'm out here today and I've learned stuff in the first hour I've been out here fishing. It's just, you learn every single day, and thus that's why the name Project E. Well, you and Bradley have a lot in common because I know Bradley, he's working his tail off on so much of the stuff that he's doing on YouTube. But I am just intrigued, Edwin, from a production standpoint. All right? Whoever you have that is putting that stuff together, or if you're doing that, it's an amazing job. And are you involved in that production process, or do you have somebody that's kind of piecing that together with you?
No, I don't ever want to say that I'm that talented because I'm not. I feel like every now and then I'm fortunate enough to catch a few bass and maybe talk about it, but I'm super fortunate in the gentleman that I've got attached with me his wife, Chris and Joseline Neal. They're just great people. People that you want to hang out with, people that you want to spend the entire day in a boat with, and very, very talented. And, my hat's off to those guys, and they get all the credit for that.
I definitely see some of what Mark's talking about when I watch the videos too. I see some of the resemblance of the classic patterns and some of the older Bass Pro shows, that you talked about you enjoy doing. And I see some of that. Now, some of that may just be reflected in you, as your personality on camera, some of that being the similarities, but I still see some of the production similarities also. Did you run that by them? Maybe, hey, look at some of this. This is some stuff I've done that I really like.
It's funny you say that, Bradley. I did mention it to him, but he can't find any of it on YouTube, and the younger generation, they don't watch TV, they don't DVR anything. They watch everything on YouTube. So I've told him I'd like to get him some DVDs because I got a bunch of the DVDs, but none of that stuff's on YouTube. So I did mention it to him. It's funny you said that, but no, he hadn't watched any of it. It's just been by chance, I guess.
Well, I definitely have felt like your stuff, all your I's were dotted and your T's were crossed right out of the gate. Like it was obvious. I mean, whether it was cards in the middle, chef call cards, or end cards at the end of videos, I mean, like everything is done the way it is, and it's really, really well done, and I was impressed with the beginning. I personally enjoy it just probably from the Oklahoma side of it. I think I sent you a message once about like seeing Little Butcher, in your boat and Terry, and so I get to see guys that I don't get to see, and I enjoyed seeing you and Matt together at Falcon. Those were great episodes, and I know how special friends you and Matt have been for
Bradley,
a long time.
I'd give my left arm to go do one with you, bud.
Well, we should.
I've always wanted to fish with. So you just, if you'd ever let me have the day of boat in your boat or my boat, I'd be honored, man. So you're a cool dude.
Yeah, we'll shoot a double on Grand Lake or something. Do two shows out.
Wow,
that'd be cool.
Two of the best sticks on Grand Lake in the same boat doing the same show. That would rock. That would get a lot of views.
That's something that I've tried to work on with that Project E, just to kind of clarify. You mentioned Terry Butcher. So me and Terry, we went and fished a 15-boat tournament over on Fort Gibson a couple weeks ago. We were fortunate enough to win it and had a lot of fun. It was a Major League Fishing style tournament. But, my Tuesday video is the production video. That's the Project E video. All Tuesday videos are Project E. The Thursday videos, it's just really GoPro footage, raw GoPro footage for the most part. It's kind of two different production values. It's hard to produce two videos like the Tuesday videos because those are really, really time consuming and a lot of hours are put into those, with multiple camera people and it's just two different entities there. I guess I'd like to make sure I clarify with the fan base.
Edwin, wasn't it Mike Otten that put the classic patterns?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Mike for years. He was kind of the first guy in the modern area. I'm not talking about what went down in the 70s and 80s, but he was kind of the first guy to put a series of videos together like that. Mike was awesome. He was kind of at the cutting edge.
Unbelievable. Yes, Mike, I love him to death and very fortunate to have got to be with him. But, man, he had some incredible stuff way before anybody else ever did. You're 100% right. And he can sure catch them, too.
Yeah. He was a stick there for a little while and chose to go the
Yes,
production
sir,
video route, and it worked out really good for him. I haven't seen Mike, for years. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. I'm embarrassed to say that, but I need to reach out. Just such a great man.
Yeah.
You lose contact with people, and I should have stayed in better contact with him.
Edwin, one of the things that has been very challenging for a lot of guys in this game from an angler, from a professional standpoint, is the ability to create content in order to fulfill obligations that they have with the sponsors. All right, you're one of the superstars in the sport. You're one of the top tiered guys. I talk about the 5%ers all the time. You're in that 5%. Let's just say, how good has your sponsors been during this very challenging time in supporting what you do, no matter what you do, from a perspective of, hey, man, this is what you need to do. We're behind you 100%. Just keep doing what you're doing, and we're behind you. What has the sponsorship connection been like for one of the 5%ers?
I think we've all been affected, and I've got some sponsors that I've had for 20 years. I'm fortunate to have some that I've had for a long time that's definitely affected them, and we've had to make some adjustments, and when everything comes back, we'll make the adjustments the other way, and then I'm fortunate I've got some other sponsors that they've been oblivious to it, that it hadn't affected them any, but they've all been. What I like about my sponsors, I feel like I'm family with them. I can call any one of them day or night, and they can call me day or night. And, I've got a really good connection with all of them. But I think this is I don't think a lot of guys realize the depth and the how deep this pandemic has hit our economy. And it's a lot more serious than a lot of people realize as far as the economy part of it. And it's had a really bad effect and changed a lot of people's lives and feeding their families and paying their bills. And it goes deep, I guess is all I'm saying. But I'm fortunate that I've got a good group of sponsors, and we're all going to make it through it and come out stronger on the other side.
Well, they got to be happy with the Project E project. I mean, geez. That thing is just incredible. All right, man. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break and come back with some questions from the instant feedback here on a Wednesday with Edwin Evers. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Let's face it, fishing electronics are no longer an afterthought. They've become a necessity. And at the Bass Tank, our experts match you with the right electronics, provide professional installation, and educate you to help maximize your catching results while providing support along the way. Because let's be honest, it's about catching, not just fishing. And when you're ready for better results, join the Bass Tank team. Visit us today on Facebook or go to thebasstank.com.
Blue Water by TH Marine, offering LED lighting solutions for your boat, trailer, truck, ATV, and so much more. Engineered and built to be rugged with waterproof and submersible options. Designed for easy installation, Blue Water is available in a variety of colors and styles. All backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Blue Water by TH Marine.
The name SPRO says it all. SPRO stands for Sports Professionals. When you look at the pro staff that SPRO has brought on board over the past 15 years, it's been pretty incredible. I mean, one got it just then. From the development of the rock crawler to the McStick, from the Fat Papa to the Little John series, when you tie a SPRO bait on, you know it's been designed by a professional to get the job done.
As a professional angler, you've got so many things on your mind. Any advantage that we have is key. And not only rods and reels and lines and baits, but in our clothes. And the guys at AFCO, they have something for every situation. There's nothing AFCO hasn't thought about with the fishermen in mind. It's designed for fishermen, by fishermen, for every scenario you can come to. Any fish, any water, any condition, AFCO has you covered.
All of us on the Pro Tournament Trail use Gamakatsu hooks.
Why?
Because they are absolutely the best.
It's not about how many bites you get.
It's how many you put in the boat.
Gamakatsu makes hooks for every fishing style.
We didn't come this far to lose fish.
Did you?
For more information, visit gamakatsu.com.
The Big Bite Baits Kamikaze Swim-On is a very unique bait, and it's got a full body but with ribs to give it a bigger profile but not more plastic. It's got a jointed tail that gives it a lot of action, as well as this up and down crawl type trail with holes and ribs in it, so it creates a bubble trail almost. This bait is supposed to be fished upside down or vertical like this on a grate for a chatterbait. I prefer it on a swim jig as well, but you can also cut it down and put it on the back of a finesse jig. You know, flip it around for some spotted bass or flipping docks. Anytime you want a small, compact, little trailer for it, this is great for it. So check out the full lineup of swim-ons at bigbitebaits.com.
All right, we are back on a Wednesday with our special guest, live via Skype from the water, Edwin Evers. And Edwin, it is time to go to the instant feedback and take some of the questions from the fans that are watching live here. And this first one, it's kind of a cool question from longtime watcher Andy in Indiana. It's like, what's it like being friends with Johnny Morris? And what is he like away from all the business stuff?
You know, Johnny's a very quiet, reserved man, and is as passionate about fishing as any one of us, and passionate about hunting as any one of us could ever be. It's just, you would think somebody of his stature and his nature would not be so quiet or nervous, but he gets very, very nervous getting around any kind of crowd. He doesn't like it at all, but just loves outdoors, and there's nobody in our industry that has put more back into the conservation aspect of our outdoors, from the quail, the turkey, the elk, and bass fishing and deer hunting. I mean, you name it, that man puts his money in places to make the habitats better for all the things that we enjoy outdoors. And that's what I admire about him more than anything. And he truly loves it. He eats, breathes, and sleeps being outside. He's like a kid in a candy store when he's out there with you.
All right, very cool. I've never met the guy. All the time that I've spent in the industry, I've never met him. I've like glanced with him and been around him, but I've never really had a conversation with the guy.
Yeah. He stays pretty busy. I mean, with all the things he's got going on.
Yeah.
He stays really, really busy.
Yeah, he's got his hands full right now, believe me. All right, another cool question from John in Texas wants to know, when did you really realize, Edwin, that you made it as a professional angler?
That's a great, that was, I didn't really ever think I made it. I think it was 2002 when I won the top 150 on Lake Eufaula, Alabama. It was, I'd won some tournaments prior to that, but that was an event that I was able to win $100,000 in. At the time, I was living in a trailer house that I was making $150 a month payments on, trying to pay off $7,000 loan to buy it. Didn't have air conditioning. And I'll never forget when I won that money. I was like, man, I could buy a house now. And that's when I thought I'd made it, Still going forward years after that, I always questioned it. It wasn't until, maybe 4, 5, 6 years later that I'd won a few more. But that first one actually allowed me to keep doing it because, there was a time there in 2001, I was like, man, I don't know if I can keep doing this.
Wow. That's a great story. Now, were you at Southeastern University?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. Were you there when Rodman was there?
No, sir. I was there a little bit afterwards. My Rodman story, he always would come out to a place called Pompano's on Lake Texoma. And you guys, I've grown up since then, but I used to work at a bar. If you didn't know that, I was the bar back. I was the guy that kept the bar stocked with the liquor and the beer. I mean, that was my job, just hauling it back and forth. And this place that I'm talking about on Lake Texoma, I mean, it was the ritzy people out of Dallas would come up to it. Well, Rodman would come up there on the weekends, and he'd have his Rodman excavation boats, big cigarette boats, have 4 or 5 of them tied up. And there was a few weekends actually Madonna was there. But anyway,
wow.
My Rodman story, it's like 2:30. I'm tired. I'm ready to go home. The bar was supposed to close at 2. And he's there trying to order a drink at this bar. And the bar is a square bar. And I'm putting bottles up in the top. There's these racks above the top. And you open the cabinet and you start stuffing all these bottles in there. Well, in the front, some bars. And it's supposed to keep those bottles from going through when you start poking them through. Well, I'm cramming bottles in there, and I'm mad this guy's asking for another drink, and the bartender's sitting there getting him another drink. And he's reeling in a fish right now, that dirty dog. And anyway, I'm pushing these bottles in, and one of them falls on Rodman's head. because the bar sits up pretty high. Rodman's tall, but the bottle falls on his head. Bam, hits him on the head, then bam, hits the ground. And he's like, for the next 10 minutes, he's like, I'm suing this place. I'm suing this place. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry, buddy. It was an accident, but really, the place was supposed to be closed 30 minutes ago. They always kind of kept it open and made exceptions for him. But that's my only Rodman story from Southeastern days.
That's a great story, though. Wow. Wow. Was he mad at you? Was he cussing you out?
He didn't cuss me. He wasn't. I was never like belligerent about it, but he was. I don't know if he was serious or not serious. I'm here, a college student trying to pay my bills, and he's going to sue this place for a bottle hitting him on the head. It didn't fall but 6-8 inches, as tall as the fella was, Now,
oh, wow. Wow. Great story. All right. Ben wants to know, was there ever a tournament that you won that you felt like you had no business winning? Everything just fell into place.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's been a bunch of those. It's weird. That's the ones you win that you just have no idea. I could look back to winning that event on Lake Erie. A kid from Oklahoma going up there trying to drop shot with people that who would have thought me from Oklahoma go up and win a tournament drop shot, it's happened a few more times than that, but that's probably the one that sticks out in my brain as much as any, to go up there and compete drop shot. And, I caught some fish that week in 52 foot of water. We'd have to look long and hard to find a lake in Oklahoma to catch one in 52 foot of water. And, there's only maybe one or two that I can think of.
Yeah. Did fishing at Table Rock help you with that technique?
Absolutely. The year that Todd won at Table Rock, I finished second, and that was really my first experience to really get good at drop shots. And that's one thing I'd like to hold on one second, Bradley. I want to hear what you got to say. That's one thing I'd like to pass on to all our listeners is, I went to Table Rock and fished with Tim Sonato and Mike Webb. Those guys are guides over there at the time. I didn't have to pay for it because I was really good friends with them. But I learned how to go fish Table Rock, and I always tell people, the more people you can fish with, the more you can learn. And, maybe if that is hiring a guide or whoever it may be, I went and spent a lot of time at Table Rock learning. I went and spent months in Florida trying to, back in the day, I'd camp down in Florida, and the same thing fishing with Matt Reed, that YouTube channel deal we were talking about. I learned so much on fishing East Texas grass, fishing with Matt. So go ahead, Bradley. What were you fixing to say?
I just remembered that event in 06 and you doing extremely well in that event and catching them and how you guys were catching them at that time. And I was in the same boat. I'd gone up and spent time with Wes Endicott in that event, but I didn't turn around to be the drop shotter that you did out of the deal. I learned that I would need to travel the country with just a couple of rods, and a spinning rod was not one of them.
I tried to be a Denny Brower early in my career, and it didn't pay my bills very well trying to be Denny Brower.
That's funny. Man, Sonato and Webb are absolute sticks on Table Rock.
Absolutely.
They can catch them up there.
Great guys, too.
Yeah. All right. This is interesting. Frank from Michigan wants to know, if you're in the boat with Bradley, or even if you're not, would you try his new bait that he designed, the BFE?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like I say, I'm always going to learn on anything and everything I can learn. So heck yeah.
All right. Bryce in Illinois wants to know, are you excited about going back to the Mississippi River?
Yes, I am. I say that with a little reservation because, it's hard to go back to a place that you've won and have any kind of success. It is for me. Maybe for Bradley or for somebody else it's not, but for me, it's hard to go back to a place and win again. But no, I love that place. It just fishes so big. You catch so many fish, and I'm super excited to go back.
All right, I want to talk real quick about the General Tire commercials. How long does it take, or how long did it take to shoot one of those commercials?
It's been different for each one. We shot, out of office, with Skeet out on Skytook Lake with that desk on his front boat. And, I'm trying to get work done and he's out of office. That was a 2-3 day shoot. There's probably 100 people on set. They had more food for those commercials. They had a 40-foot food bar all day long set up out at Skytook Lake. And another portion of that commercial was in the Wintercom offices there in Tulsa, and same thing. It's just amazing. I think it was maybe 3 days. Now, this last set of commercials that we did up in Chicago at a tire shop, we were pretty much in and out of there in a day, and worked out pretty good. So they are a lot of fun to shoot. The marketing group behind those people are geniuses that think up that stuff. They just, and not only that, they fish a little bit too, which is really, really cool. And, I'm thankful for General Tire. They just one of my best sponsors, and they make a great product that I have on all mine and my wife's vehicles.
So did Richard Petty kind of hang out with you guys during that commercial?
Oh yeah. Heck yeah. He's a fisherman. Cool individual, super cool individual.
Putting a trailer hitch on that car was hilarious, man. That's one of the funniest commercials that has been put together here recently from a fishing standpoint.
They had a whole road crew that they welded and worked on that poor car for days prior to bringing it. And then once we had it there to adjust for the weight, they had spacers because, when we put the nitro on the back of that car, it squatted it down, and that car is the real deal. I mean, that is a super fast car. I got to drive that thing, and you can smoke the tires in third and fourth gear. It's a fun car to drive.
I just wonder what it's like pulling a boat, though.
little squirrely. A little squirrely.
Wow. Yeah, that's a very, very cool commercial. All right, let's see here. Ben wants to know, where did Ben go? Let's see here. For the lake, the St. Clair event, would there even be a possibility that you would run to Lake Erie?
Man, that's a great question. I haven't thought about it yet. I try to take each tournament one at a time, but my initial response to that is I have tried to stay in St. Clair the last how many times we've been there, because I always feel like winning fish are in St. Clair, and if I'm leaving St. Clair, I'm driving over the winning fish. And I think there's only been one of those events, one in St. Clair, and it's one Jason won. So that is going to be something that is going to be a last-minute, decision. The beauty of the FLW, we'll get 3 days of practice, so I'll for sure spend a day down at Lake Erie. I really like Lake Erie. I'm a guy that likes to get away from fishing pressure. And so if I feel like I can go to Lake Erie and get away from that pressure, yes, absolutely.
All right, Alan in Oklahoma wants to know, I love the Pit Boss. What are your 3 favorite colors in the Pit Boss?
It's easy. Black, blue, Okeechobee Crawl, and green pumpkin. That's all that's not all I need, but I love those 3.
And let's see here. Oh, what lake is your favorite to throw it in?
Oh, man. Wherever I'm fishing, it's just a bait that stays tied on, it's my favorite flipping bait, for soft plastic. It's, Oologall, it's deadly on Oologall because, those fish stay shallow year round, and you can catch them, shallow flipping rocks when the water's out of the willows, and when in the willows, it really works well. But I'm going to have that thing tied on anywhere and everywhere I go.
Yeah, TJ in North Carolina wants to know, when you won on Erie in 2006, did anyone know about fizzing back then?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that they did. They may have. I'm sure they did. Yeah. I just don't think we had the educational cards that we have now. I tried to fizz some of mine. So, yeah, I guess so. That's a long time ago, guys. I'm getting older. But I found that if I just cooled my water, that was back, I would ice my fish and I'd really cool that water. And they were super hard to catch. I always judge how hard a fish is to catch at the weigh-in site. So they were super hard to catch, super lively in there with that water being cool. And I felt like all my fish survived that event coming from that deep water. You got to think about in the summertime when we start catching those fish, that water, they're down there for a reason. It's a lot cooler. And that's why I put a lot of ice in my live wells. And that's why, like on my Lowrances, I've got the live well temps for both live wells on all my screens in my boat, so I can tell you exact temperature of my live wells. And I just try to keep it 10 to 15 degrees cooler than the surface temp throughout the day, and it's really easy to manage with my Lowrances that way. And my buddy here just broke one off, then it come up jumping. You know, like when you break a fish off, it's always a giant, you know, like, oh, that's a big one, that's a big one. And it just come up and jump. It was like a 2-pounder. The fish at all wasn't a giant, you know. That's an epic fishing story we can all relate to. Every time we break one off, you know it's a big one, but that one wasn't a big one.
That's funny. All right, a couple more questions from the instant feedback, and then we'll let you go, Edwin. Scott from Indiana wants to know, how much time is put into the Bass Pros TV show?
A lot. You know, sometimes if the fish are biting, you know, you really only need 5 or 6 good fish catches, but it's all the secondary stuff that takes a lot of time. You know, the different camera angles, the out-of-boat angles, the drone shots, it's all that stuff that takes up so much time that watching a show you don't realize, but you know, when you're actually doing the show, that, man, it's like, guys, I just caught one right there, and there's probably 5 more that I could catch right there. Oh no, I need to have an angle of the rod. I need to have an angle of this. And I'm like, I could have caught all 5 of them. You can just let me make 5 more casts, but it's not about that. You know, it's about getting all the TV angles that they need. So it's definitely a full day deal to get a 15-minute segment. And I think they're great shows. If anybody hadn't ever watched them, you know, Dave Appleton now is filming those, and he's very, very talented, and he's streamlined it as good as anybody has, but it still does take time.
All right, man. What can we expect? Obviously, tournaments are getting back on the schedule. Your time commitment to those obviously is great, but how are you going to continue Project E once the tournaments kick up?
You know, I've got lots of ideas for it. I want to. This is just not an Oklahoma deal. I'm going to fish lakes all across the country. I always want to try to fish a new lake at least once a month or every month and a half. I probably enjoy fishing new lakes as much as anything, because that makes me a better fisherman, you know, and there's going to be days when I go out there and fish a new lake and I may only catch 1 or 2 or 3 if I did good. So you guys are going to see that, or I may figure them out and really catch them. I don't know, but I really enjoy that, because I feel like that's something that I could relate to back when I was new in the fishing world, because every lake was new to me. And I think that's just a lot to be learned from us, Bradley going and fishing new lakes, me going and fishing new lakes, how we all attack it, the baits we use. I want to do a lot of that, you know, but in the same sense, I'm going to go out there and just teach about whatever the fishing conditions are for the season. And, you know, this is a long-term commitment for me. And it's something that I foresee me doing for many years to come, and I really enjoy it. So as long as I'm having fun doing it, and a few people like it and can learn how to catch another bass, I'll always keep doing it.
All right, very cool. Final question from Kyle. He wants to know, what's your most memorable experience that you've ever had during a tournament, good or bad?
Kyle, you're putting me on the spot, buddy. That's good or bad. How much time do we have? There's lots of bads and there's some good ones. I'm just thinking, you know, one popped into my head that I'll never forget. I'm in the Louisiana Delta, and I guess I'll never forget it because Jeff Creed always brings it up. But it's a bad one. We're way 70, 80 miles from takeoff, and I guess Creed's in the next canal, but he can hear me and my co-angler getting into it. And I just had a co-angler that he would throw in front of me 20 feet. I'm trying to parallel a bank. You know, I'm not front-ending him at all. He's got plenty of room to fish. I'm way off the bank, but yet he's going to throw over my line and snag my line, and he did it about 3 times. And I was just like, buddy, it's not necessary. And I throw back behind him and I catch one, you know, and a lot of people don't realize that. I actually threw back underneath the boat because he's rushing me so much, and they're just on little clumps of grass. And I told him he needs to take off walking or swimming, take off smack that direction if he does it again. And Creek brings it up quite often, but that was probably one of the worst ones. And we ended up getting along the rest of the day, but he just, you know, some people think you have to be throwing in the very front of the boat when there's fish behind us, but, you know, I've had some great ones too. So I don't know. Some of the most memorable are always fishing, like with Matt Reed. We kind of talked about a few of those events. You know, we had an event on Toledo Bend one time that they were stacked up in the river like cordwood. You could catch, I am not lying, 75 out of every school. And that morning, I was kind of embarrassed because he was supposed to take care of Rayburn. You know, it was a 2-day tournament, 1 day on Rayburn, 1 day on Toledo Bend, and he practiced Rayburn and he took care of Rayburn. And we caught him at Rayburn, so we go to Toledo Bend, and I'd been practicing over there for a week and probably 2 weeks. I was back in my single days and had a camper, and I had him located big time. I mean, like it was not a matter of if, it was a matter of when and how many and how big. And so confident, you know, the number one spot I had was just right up and it was right on the boat lane. And so I don't want to start on them because I want everybody to take off. And I kind of pull over here on some secondary stuff and we catch 2 or 3 and we go back to the spot, the main spot. And I cast out there and I don't get a bite and I make like 5 casts. And I mean, I fully expected to catch one. And I did, and I kind of remember something Clun said. You know, we're all big followers of Clun. This story's getting a little longer as I'm going. I'm sorry. But he said, man, you know, speed cranking is back when speed cranking started. And I threw that at the time, it's probably a fat-free shad or something across there. And I reeled that sucker as fast and as hard as I could. And bam, 5-pounder. And it ignited that group of fish. And I mean, I'm catching one every cast, and Matt had broke off, and he's trying to tie one on, and he gets like 1 wrap on the deal, and I'm like, net, and then he gets that one in the boat, and he gets another wrap on his trying to tie it on, net, you know, and I'm just catching him, and he finally just says timeout, you know, and there's probably a few choice words in there when he said timeout, you know, he was wanting to get in on the action. And I don't blame him, but we had so much fun fishing back in the day. And I got memories like that with another buddy of mine, Jeff Reynolds. That's somebody else that we fished team tournaments and we had a lot of fun. And those are the days that I remember the most, back getting to fish with your buddies.
Yeah, that's very cool. You know, one of the best memories, and we've known each other for a long time, Edwin. One of the best memories that I have with you is not even fishing related. When we were at Gunnersville and we were shooting this crazy promo that we were doing, and you were hitting golf balls off the front deck of your boat, you and Matt Reed.
I remember that. Yeah. That's dangerous. If I was hitting a golf ball, it might go behind me. Hook left, hook right. I'm not very good at golf. Matt's really good, but I'm horrible. My wife told me when I got married to her, the first time we're out playing, you know, and she's like, you will never beat me in golf. She says this to me. My wife's super ultra competitive. She's in the Oklahoma Hall of Fame for softball and three state champions in all the sports in high school. I'm not going to go on, but she's like stud athlete and super competitive. She told me that. So I take lessons and, you know, I give this guy $100 and I go to 5 lessons out here at Claremore, and I'm getting a little bit better early in our marriage. Well, I finally beat her, but she was 8 months pregnant. She couldn't reach around her belly. And it's the best day of golf I ever had in my life. I shot an 85, and I've never got close to an 85 since then, ever, like not even within 10 or 12 strokes. And she says it doesn't count because she was pregnant, you know. And that was the worst golf she'd ever had, you know.
That's funny, man. All right. Man, are the fish still spawning in Oklahoma? I know it's late May, but are they?
Yes, sir, they are. The weather's weird this year. The water's a lot colder. You know, I was on this body of water a month ago, and it's only come up 2 or 3 degrees. Now, I'm sure it's been a lot warmer. You know, I think this is one of those years we had some fish spawn really early. We had a lot of fish. The majority of them spawned that first moon in May, and they're still spawning now, you know, and with our lakes and the water levels and everything that's going on, you know, that's a big thing too. Those waters have to stabilize just a little bit for those fish to spawn. You know, last year I fished a tournament on Grand. It was one of those Tuesdayers, and kind of funny story. If y'all don't care, I like telling stories, but it's one of them deals, and my brother-in-law and my father-in-law are fishing, and it's my first tournament I ever fished with Cade, ever. And he hadn't been in my boat 2 or 3 times prior to that, and he was 10. And it was like the very end of June. It's a neat story because and the water had been falling and all that current. Well, me and Cade, like by 8 o'clock, I think it was a 3 or 4 fish limit. We had like 17 pounds and big ones. And it was a 4 fish limit. And And I call Terry, and I'm like, hey, guys, man, we're catching them. We're catching them. You know, I told them we're catching them deep, 15 to 20 foot deep. And, we're catching them on this bait. And I tell them everything. And they had like 12 pounds. They had 1 4-pounder and 3 little ones. And by the end of the day, my son, he's all mad, super competitive. Why are you calling Papa? Why are you letting Papa know what we're doing? I'm like, son, they'd let us know. I mean, we're just trying to help them. And it was early, I was really trying to help them. Well, we come in at the end of the day, and me and Cade caught 2 4.5-pounders, and I had 2 5-pounders. We had like 19-something pounds. And I think we're going to win it. Well, by God, my father-in-law and brother-in-law come in, and I'm thinking, well, did y'all end up catching some? Did we help you out any? Oh, yeah, we caught them. I'm like, oh, and then Cade's really mad at me, And come to find out, they caught them all flipping, doing what the butchers do, Yeah. That's just my brother-in-law. He caught like an almost 20-pound bag on 4 fish, flipping, but those fish were still spawning. That's where that story's going. Those fish were still spawning in June. They pulled out to the tip islands. They all had bloody tails, and they were still spawning. A lot of those fish he shook off in practice. They were in the exact same spot. And they just started biting for him that afternoon. But it just goes to show those fish will spawn a lot later in the year than I always thought, waiting on that water to get right.
Yeah. Man, that's a cool story. Terry, you got to love Terry, man. One of the best anglers ever to come out of the state of Oklahoma. Just a stick.
And his dad. That's the deal about it. His dad. We've spent a lot of time down on Falcon. Back with this virus, they got a little trailer house down there, and we went down there. We were supposed to go for 3 days. We stayed 17. We're having so much fun. And there's nobody that loves fishing more than him. He will go every day, snow, rain, sun, wind. It does not matter. He goes every day. And that's what I love about him. He loves it more than all of us combined.
Yeah, that's great stuff. All right, man, we're going to let you go. I know. You're probably getting tired of watching these guys hook up while you're doing the interview, so we're going to let you get back
Hold
to
on, that was my question that no one asked was how good are you catching them this morning?
Yeah.
He's reeling one in right now, and we are catching them pretty good. How many is that, guys? 17. But I've got to say this. We were at 13 or 14 when this interview started, so they're slacking a little bit, trying to be quiet up there. I'm going to have to crack the whip and get after them and say, hey, come on, let's get this thing going. Oh, no one's on. So, no, we're having fun out here.
All right, very good. All right, folks, if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. Project E with Edwin Evers on YouTube. Some of the best content out there on YouTube when it comes to bass fishing, and the production quality off the charts, man. And Edwin, wish you the best, man. It's going to be cool to see you guys back in action, getting after it. Can't wait to see that. But really appreciate your friendship over the years, and you're welcome on here anytime, man.
Man, thanks, Mark. I love you to death, brother, and I appreciate all you do for our industry and promoting the sport. You guys are doing a great job, and Bradley's a great addition there. You've got a good one with him.
Yeah.
The Hammer, I always called him the Hammer, man, because I'll never forget, and I got so much respect for Bradley because good fishermen, they go looking if they don't catch them the first day. And there was an event on Rayburn that I'd been fishing in this pocket and doing fairly good, and Bradley, I don't think he had a good day the first day. And the second day, he goes looking, and he runs into me in this pocket, and he just, hey, man, you fishing in here? And I said, yeah, but, it's no big deal. Man, he pulled up that trolling motor and ran out immediately. There's some people in our sport that they're going to stay in there and fish right with you. And Bradley is one of the all-time best, and I think the world of you, man. And
I appreciate that.
Keep doing what you're doing. You are the Hammer, dude. You'd bring in some monster sacks. He was kind of like brother-in-law at times, a hero or a zero, but he lived and died by the sword, and he'd bring in hammer bags.
Yeah.
That was the nickname for him.
Hey, man, on the instant feedback, they want to see you two in the same boat. So you two get together, make that happen.
I would love to. I'll do anything. Meet you anywhere you want to go, Bradley.
Yeah, we can do that.
Love to do one with you.
Yeah.
All right. There you have it, man. Have fun, Edwin. We will talk to you soon, man. Be safe.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.
Brad.
Take care.
See you, bub.
All right. There you have it. Edwin Evers. Absolutely one of the superstars in the game, Bradley.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, top 5%er, 3%, probably really truthfully top 3%er.
Yeah,
I mean, it gets pretty narrow. I mean, he's done so much.
Yeah.
The thing that sticks out in my mind, I mean, just because of my relationship with Grand Lake and how well I know that place and how that classic came down that he won. That was the largest bag I have ever seen weighed on. Now think about this.
Yeah.
Think about how intimate I know this place and how much time I spent, right?
Years.
It was the largest bag of fish that I have ever seen weighed on that lake. And he weighed it on the third day of the Bassmaster Classic for the win.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just golly.
I know.
Talk about the stars and just everything. I mean, he's always been such a phenomenal fisherman, you know, and the deal with Edwin's versatility is off the chain, him talking about the drop shotting and stuff and him talking about how he couldn't do the Denny Brauer deal. You know, I tried to emulate some of the things that he was doing early in my career with the versatility, and it cost me. It cost me dearly in places where I should have just stayed with flip stick in my hand.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how far he's taken it because the guy there is nothing in an arsenal of any fishing worldwide tackle that he doesn't have.
Oh, you're right, man. You know what I was thinking about the other day? I was thinking about the very first time that you were out on the Elite Series. And we were actually roommates, and a lot of people don't know that. But Brad and I actually, to save money, room together. I was trying to do this.
You were a rookie as well, really.
I was a rookie, man.
Yeah.
It was you know, us working together. And I remember that very first tournament at Amistad. We didn't even know where to stay. I booked us a hotel that was an absolute dive. I mean, cockroaches walking through the parking lot.
I think that was actually one of the nicer hotels in town.
I don't know why I was reflecting it on that, but it was just, that was kind of the start, and I was progressing toward where we are today.
Yep.
And what you have accomplished, and man, there were just so many challenges that very first year that we both were doing.
It was a great relationship because you would come in, all your work would be at night, and so like I would get up real early in the morning. You would too, but you would at least get to come back in the middle of the day and maybe get a nap in or something. You'd work a little bit, but then I remember going to bed at night, you know, after a day of practice or a day of tournament, and you would just stay up all night burning.
I know.
You know, burning and just working and working and working. It was a fun time. 2006. Never forget that year.
Yeah, 14 years ago. So we've come a long way, Bradley. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up today. Anything else, Bradley?
I don't think I have anything.
When is the video stuff from Lake X going to drop?
It drops this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see that.
Upshaw, everybody wants it out. So Lake X will drop this weekend.
All right. Tomorrow, Davey Height, and looking forward to that. Hopefully we're going to have him on live via Skype, but connection might be a little dicey. I was a little worried about the Edwin connection, but it turned out okay.
Dude, you did great with it. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah. So Davey Height tomorrow, and then Monday, Scott Canterbury, and Tuesday, wow, where are my notes at? Tuesday, Jamie Hartman. We're going to talk about the Jamie Hartman retirement plan with 3 stops in the state of New York. So, and then I'm working on Wednesday. So, great shows continue here on BTL. Bradley, you're welcome here. You know that anytime you want.
Yep, love being here.
We've got a little charity thing or a high school thing, or I'm not really sure what it is.
Oh, yeah, that's something we need to talk about. That's what we're doing this weekend. We're doing a high school deal. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Was there 25, 30 guys from Oklahoma? High school kids on Lake Keystone.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to doing that.
Yeah. For me, it's show and go. I'm just going to show up and go. I have no idea. I've been on the lake one time.
Yeah, it's going to be a really special day for me. I've got my best friend that just passed away, my old team partner. His son was actually a senior in high school this year, so he's going to be my partner. So
very cool.
Maybe the gods will look down upon us and bless us with a winning bag.
Very cool. All right, thank you to all the fans once again. Make sure you enter the Apex Bass Games. Make sure you review us on iTunes. Make sure, please, subscribe to us on YouTube. I'm going to get the YouTube thing fixed. Man, you thought I was mad at Matt. Wait till you hear the phone call with these knuckleheads.
I'm ready for it myself, dude. As a YouTube watcher of this show, you know, I get frustrated with it when I'm on the road. So when I'm watching this
I'm
stuff,
doing everything I can,
to watch
Bradley.
Because I want to watch it on my phone, and I enjoy doing it from YouTube.
I'm trying.
And I enjoy interacting with the guys on YouTube that watch.
I'm trying, man.
I know you are.
I'm trying. All right, everybody be safe. That's it. We're out of here.